Hey guys, it's Elise and welcome back to another My Cupcake Addiction. Today I'm going to show you guys how to frost up your cupcakes in 5 different ways using nothing more than a knife and some frosting and a cupcake. Tools are fabulous when it comes to cake decorating, but not all of us have them at home. So I'm going to show you guys how to make all of these different design options using nothing more than just a good old-fashioned knife. The things that you're going to need: of course, your cupcakes, some buttercream frosting, and I have a fantastic recipe for buttercream frosting. I will link to that down below. And I choose to do my buttercream frosting in some different colors, so you can color yours up however you like. Let's get started. Our first cupcake style today is going to be the flat top frosting style. If you follow the channel, you've probably seen me do this before. It's one of my favorite designs, particularly when I've got a decoration that I want to remain stable or stand upright on top of my cupcake. With the knife that you're going to use, you want to make sure that your knife has a nice smooth back on it. So I just use a butter knife. With the back of my knife, I'm going to pile my frosting nice and high, much more than I think I'm going to need on top of my cupcake. I'm trying not to get it into those outside edges, but I am pushing it into the cupcake wrapper. This is also a great frosting style if your cupcake wrappers are coming away from the outsides of your cupcakes for any reason. Kind of sticks it all back together. Once you're happy that you've got plenty of frosting, we're going to sort of side to side the knife. So you can see there I'm really just moving it side to side, and I'm pushing all of that frosting evenly out over those edges. I want them to come a little further over the edge of the cupcake wrapper, but in an even kind of a way, all the way around the outside. You should have something that looks kind of like this. Wiping off my knife, because you always want to be working with a clean knife here. I'm now going to smooth the very, very top, just spinning the cupcake in my hand so I've got a really nice, smooth, level surface. And then again, wiping the knife, I'm going to come around and I'm going to scrape back the sides of the cupcake, wiping in between. Perfect. That is all there is to your flat top frosting style. This guy I love because you can also coat just the sides in sprinkles. So I've just got my sprinkles in a relatively shallow bowl and I'm just going to lightly dip the edges. And because you've got such a defined edge, it's really easy to just coat the edges and not get any sprinkles on the top of your cupcake. So now what we've got is not just a regular flat top cupcake, we've got a nice little pattern on the side, and you can change up those toppers and those colors to make this suit pretty much any occasion. Our second cupcake frosting style is kind of similar to that flat top frosting, but I'm going to show you how to get this sort of Magnolia Bakery-esque style of swirl in the top. Once again, we're going to pile that frosting nice and high, and we're going to push it down the edges of our cupcake wrapper. And then just the same as with the flat top style, we're going to push it down so that we're getting it over those outside edges and wipe off the knife. Now from here, rather than keeping it such a straight edge, we're going to angle the knife in a little bit so it kind of comes up on a little bit of an angle. So using the back flat edge of my knife, I'm going to angle it in ever so slightly into the frosting so that I'm not gouging a big hole out of the frosting, but just kind of maneuvering it around a little bit. Starting at the outside edge, all the way around, coming in and then twisting back and in again. So you can see there what you've got is a nice little sort of a path that you've trailed through the frosting, and it still comes up to almost a little peak in the middle, just a little bit of differentiation and something a little bit out of the norm for a non-piping tip frosted cupcake. Our third style is a classic mounded dome. I love this for covering in sprinkles, but it is absolutely perfectly nice and smooth to use by itself. Once again, we're going to pile on as much frosting as we possibly can using the back of the knife. Pushing it down into those inner edges of the cupcake wrapper. Wiping off the knife, and then I'm going to use the knife just to distribute the frosting as evenly as I can in a rounded formation, as a dome would suggest. And then wiping the knife again, I'm going to use the back just to smooth it off. Getting that frosting to meet up with that cupcake wrapper, not only does it enable you to keep the wrappers on if your cupcake wrappers are prone to coming away from your cupcakes, but it also helps you to create a really neat kind of a no edge look in between the cupcake and the frosting, which gives it that kind of classic cupcake look. Once I've got my outside edges, I'm going to come around the top, always using the back of my knife, and you can see I'm just doing little swirls at a time, so not the whole thing, and then flatten off the top. I could see that with just a strawberry on top. I could see it with a little sprinkle of sprinkles. So when you dip, you want to make sure you've got sort of a nice deep bowl, not a big shallow bowl. And I'm just going to pat, pat, and pat. And then when that comes up, because you've got the sprinkles on it now, you can use the palm of your hand to dome it absolutely perfectly. If you want to then attach something to the top of it, you won't be able to attach a gumball or a strawberry or anything to the sprinkles. So you need to kind of just like rough it up and expose a little bit of that buttercream frosting, which will be nice and sticky. I'm going to go with a yellow gumball to add a bit of color. That is a really classic and simple style of cupcake, and it's not too tough to do if you've got a mountain of these to frost. Now, if you have a grass piping tip, absolutely feel free to use it, but if you do not, this is a really simple way to make a grass effect, but I also think it's really cute as like the hair of a monster if you had a little monster face cupcake wrapper or something like that you just want a little bit of extra texture. So I'm going to use green frosting because I'm going for that grass effect, and once again, I'm going to pile it high on top of the cupcake and squish it down into the inner edges of my cupcake wrapper. This one here, you don't need to put so much frosting on, and we're going to bring it back to kind of a shorter dome than the last domed cupcake that we made, because that spiking of the grass is going to add a little bit of extra height to it. Now, taking the tip of your knife, we're going to sort of dig it in just ever so slightly and pull that frosting up. This can be a little bit tedious, but it really doesn't take that long to do. Because I didn't want to leave it completely naked, just the grass today, I printed out just a little soccer ball and stuck it with a piece of tape to a little toothpick, and I'm going to pop that in so that my grassed cupcake has a bit of a theme going on. I'll leave a link to a template for those down below if you want to do the same. But when you're looking at decorations, don't always think they have to be completely edible, and don't always think that you have to buy them from a store. We just printed these out, stuck them on toothpicks, and you've got yourself cupcake toppers. For our last frosting style today, we're going to go with another one of those nice little domes, but I'm going to show you how to make it bicolor. You can even make it tricolor. I went with pink and blue. I thought this would be a really super cute option if you were having a baby shower that was a gender reveal party. So I've got my two different colors of frosting. I'm going to pile one up onto one side of the cupcake, and I'm going to press it down into the inner edges of the cupcake wrapper just to halfway. And then I'm going to use my knife just to sort of slice along the center so that I've got a relatively nice straight edge. Wiping my knife, and I'm going to pile the pink up on the other side. I'm being careful not to let the two frostings really touch. I'm not forcing them together because as we dome, the weight of the knife's going to do that. So now I'm going to come around the outside with the back of my knife just on the pink, bring it around and down towards the cupcake case, and then wiping my knife around to the blue side. All the way around and down towards the cupcake case just to separate them. Now you can dome one side of the blue, one side of the pink, and to bring them together, you just want to dome directly over top of the pink and blue. What you get there is a beautiful little sort of a blended effect. Make sure that you're wiping the knife in between each instance so you're not mixing the colors too much, and then just even out your dome. So that's your final frosting technique. If you ask me, I think these would look gorgeous with chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry for a Neapolitan cupcake, and I would love to have a go at them as rainbows. If you guys try any of these techniques, hit me up on Instagram or on Facebook using the MyCupcakeAddiction hashtag. I always love to see how your creations turn out at home. My aim for this channel is to save you guys money, save you guys time, and make sure that you're not crowding your cupboards with decorating tools and equipment that you potentially don't need. We did these with just a knife. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do for 2 new videos every week. I also have videos on how to make the most of your star tips and your round tips and also your petal tips. So I'll leave links to all of those down below. As always, guys, thanks very much for tuning in to My Cupcake Addiction.